What's up, guys? Adapark here, and today I want to sit down and share with you guys a story of an interaction I had with one of you, one of my viewers. And I hopefully, by the end of this video, I want to encourage and motivate you with a lot of the things that I've been saying and some of the things that we're going to cover today to continue pushing yourself and pushing your guild to be the best that you and your group can be. So, I'm going to first admit that I am horrible at checking Twitter. It is something that I simply do not log into a lot. And the reason for that is I'm forgetful, not a lot of interactions go on between me and people within the Twitterverse. It's just something I forget about. So I logged in today for, I don't know why, the reason, I have no clue what it was. But I did notice that I had a mention from, and I apologize totally in advance, I'm going to butcher this name, from @UrielLeBerber. I hope I was remotely close. However, their name was Pecco on Twitter. Hopefully I didn't butcher that too terribly. But I did have a mention from this person, not sure, male or female, but this person saying that they loved my videos. Awesome. Thank you. That, I say it at the end of the videos, and it sounds cheesy, but this is seriously things like this where you guys are saying, hey, I love the crap that you're doing. It's so motivating. It's awesome. And I really like the interaction between myself sitting here making these videos and you guys letting me know things you want to see, things, questions that you have, situations and obstacles and things that we can talk about. Because as we'll see later down, in this video, you're not the only one having these. So I saw this, hey, love your videos. And I reached out to this person who, this message was late in March. And I said, hey, thanks, really appreciate it. And we got into this discussion over recruiting. And I want to share this discussion with you guys because, like I said, I think it pertains to a lot more people than what I realized, what this person realized, and what a lot of you guys realized. And the question that was asked of me was, hey, are there any tips or anything that you can do to help on recruiting? This guild, this group is struggling to fill their last spots since they're at the end of Nighthold, and they're kind of stuck waiting on Tomb of Sargeras to come around. And I told them straight up, this is the exact same, a very similar situation to what's been going on within my guild. We're 10 out of 10 heroic, we can clear heroic in one night. It's easy peasy, we can dick around, we can have fun, and we can still clear it. But what's the advice that I gave this person? Because saying, yeah, we're in a similar situation doesn't do great. Okay, cool. That doesn't do anything. But my advice, and it's something that I've mentioned to you guys before, is 1, do not stop recruiting. This is something that's very easy to fall into in this situation where you go, okay, my guild is doing heroic, let's say, Nighthold. And we're making good progress. Every few nights we're killing a new boss, or every night, whatever. And we got the 2 tanks, and we got the healers, and we got the DPS, and we're good to go. But what happens, and I've said this before, what happens if somebody's computer crashes, or they're late to, from being at work, or, they have an anniversary, or something happens to where a raider or raiders, plural, are put in situations where they are unable to log in for the night, or for good. Schedule changes, they quit playing, they move to a different guild, whatever. And you are stuck in a situation where you are down a person, maybe a vital role, maybe a tank has left, maybe a healer has left, maybe, you can't even fill 10 spots. Never stop recruiting. Continue trying to pick up people that fit your guild. Continue spamming your recruitment macro within trade chat and general chat. Now, when I say that, spamming, do it reasonably. Don't be that dick that's hitting it, 10 times and whatnot. Generally, the rule that I follow is I'll hit it probably once every 5 to 10 minutes. That way, if you see it, you see it. If not, you don't. Maybe if I'm questing, doing world quests in an area, I'll go ahead and hit it a couple of times throughout that questing experience, not all in the beginning. But continue recruiting, continue talking to potential recruits. If you see somebody in a Mythic Plus run, if you see somebody that's sitting in Dalaran and they're, they have the gear or the experience that you can see is around what you're looking for, hit them up. Hey man, you're looking for a guild? We are recruiting. I can tell you right now, I've nabbed a couple of recruits just on that. Just saying, hey, we plugged this thing, we did a Mythic Plus. By the way, we're recruiting. You interested? And most of them are going to say, no, I'm not interested whatsoever. A couple of them will go, yeah, let me think about it. Maybe a couple of those will go, yeah, sure, let's do it. Cool. This is really a situation of the numbers game. It's, in my mind, it's something that I kind of think about as far as being in the Marine Corps and being, on a machine gun. It's accuracy by volume. It's not, just picking up the perfect diamonds in the rough, but it's throwing, casting a wide net out there and seeing if you can get a few potential recruits. So continue, keep doing it. Do not stop. Regardless if you are full, regardless if you are, you're sitting a person, if you're benching a person, continue to do it because you don't know what's going to happen. And the second piece of advice that I gave this fella on Twitter is push progression so that you look attractive. Your goal here is to make yourself look as attractive as possible to potential recruits. That means things like, one, don't be that dick in trade chat. Don't be that dick in general chat that's, doing bad things, it's saying stupid stuff, etc. That, my guild, is a, hey, see ya, find a new guild offense. And it seems stupid. It really does. But we've had guys that, have ninja looted in the past, years and years ago. We've got guys that have said, stupid, racist, sexist, dumb things that get them banned or get them reported or get people going, I don't want to join that guild. They're racist, they're sexist, they're jerks, they're assholes. That's not what my guild's about. We're all a bunch of older people. We're mature, we're adults. We just want to find like-minded people and kill bosses in a video game. So not only do you want to look attractive, but you need to push progress. There's a lot more incentive to join a guild that is, let's say, 3 out of 10 mythic than someone that's 8 out of 10 heroic. Hey, I'm going to at least be able to kill this set amount of bosses. I can probably get into some of the heroic runs on off nights, and I know I'm going to kill Gul'dan. And I know Elisan's going to give me loot. But that 8 out of 10 guild is still struggling. And let's be honest, if you were looking for a guild, you're not going to go to, a guild that is not as far progressed as the wide berth of other guilds that are out there. You want to go to the best guilds and work your way down, right? Of course you do. So if you are struggling to fill spots, to push that progress, pug. I hate pugging. I hate it. I despise pugs because they're dumb. They don't listen. They don't join Discord. They don't speak up. They don't follow the strats. They're just, they're irritating. But it is worth it if it means that you kill a boss. It's worth it if you are able to change your recruitment macro and you're able to go, we're no longer 6 out of 10. We're 7, we're 8, we're 9 out of 10. It's worth it because now you are more appealing, more attractive. You are sexier to the people that are looking for guilds. You need to make sure that you are pushing the hardest content that your group is wanting and willing to do. If your group wants to do heroic content and you don't have enough people on, do not settle for doing normal. Pug people. If your group wants to do mythic content, we'll talk about that here in a second, and you don't have the people, pug them. Don't settle on heroic, especially if you're in a situation where both me and this guy on Twitter are, where we're already clearing heroic. It's easy. It's a joke. We can do it in a couple of hours. My guild is able to clear that crap even with breaks, even being done, about 2.5, 3 hours. That's easy. You want to make people want to join you. The further you can go, the more people that are going to be wanting and willing to join you. Keep that in mind. So, like I mentioned on Twitter, and like I've mentioned here, both his or her group and my group are almost identical in our situation. We don't have the people for Mythic. We're able to very easily, very readily, very quickly kill every single boss in Heroic about one night, and we don't know where to go from here, or at least they didn't. And I shared with my officers, and I want to say I've mentioned it to you guys on a previous video, maybe last week, that I was very blunt with my officers a couple of weeks ago, and I said, look, here's the deal. We got two choices. We can either burn ourselves and our raiders out doing Heroic Night Hold, which we're already clearing, and we can continue to clear it until Tomb of Sargeras comes out. Best guesstimate is sometime around June-ish. Or we can pug for Mythic, get a couple of extra bodies, pug for Mythic, get a couple of extra bodies, continue, fill up our roster, boom, we're gold. And both of my officers said, you already know the answer, we want to do Mythic. Great, cool. All three of us are on the same page. They are backing up what I want to be done. So then, and this is what I shared on Twitter, and then the conversation between me and this guy switched to how the players in his group were playing worse, they're ignoring mechanics, etc. Easy. These guys are burnt out. They are tired of doing Heroic. They are burnt out. And so they aren't going to care as much. This is one of the first videos that I ever did on YouTube. Was this idea, this thought process, especially in LFR, which I have nothing against it, of it's easy so we can ignore mechanics, which makes us play like shit, which in the end causes more problems because I'm not healing as much, I'm not worried about boss mechanics, I'm not tanking as much, I'm not using cooldowns. Will people die? Makes things harder. We wipe to things that we shouldn't be wiping to. Those guys are burnt out. So you need to find out what they want to do. If your group wants to continue doing Heroic, you need to push them. Take away healer. Get rid of a healer. You have 4 healers in your group of, let's say, 15 people, 20 people. Get rid of one of them. You're going DPS tonight. Or you're switching to an alt. I'm not asking. I'm letting you know. I'm telling you, here are your choices as a healer. Do an alt run. Do an achievement run. Incentivize people to play well. Incentivize people to not screw up. One of the things that we've done in the past are things like, if you screw up to a boss mechanic, especially one that gets you or other people killed, you owe gold. You will give 1,000 gold if you get hit by the train for what's its name in Blackrock Foundry. That was 1,000 gold. If you die to X mechanic, you owe, I can't speak, you owe money to the guild. And you know what? People hated it. But guess what? People stopped getting hit by those fucking trains, and that guild bank swole up. And it was awesome, because then we were able to provide mats and materials to make flasks and all that good stuff. But do things to incentivize or make it almost impossible to be lackadaisical, to ignore mechanics, to just kind of mindlessly glide through this content. However, if your group wants to get into Mythic content, get in there. Pug it. Start pushing people. So really, what's the point of this video? Maybe at this point you're asking, okay, great. These are all things that I have covered in previous YouTube videos. I've talked about recruitment. I've talked about pushing your players. I've talked about all this stuff. So why do I care? Why do you care? Why are you watching this video? One, I want to remind you guys that recruitment is a constant. It is something that you cannot stop doing. And it's very easy, as I've said earlier, to just forget about it. Oh, our roster is good to go. I'm guilty of this. You're guilty of this. Do not stop. Continue to recruit. And it is a struggle. You will have people that say they're interested and never talk to you. My Battle.net friends list is full of people that I don't even know who they are. But they're people that I've talked about recruitment. I've talked about bringing over. I've talked about, they have a friend that wants to join. They have this, that, and they're going to level this. No, they don't. No, they do not. But I've got a couple of people that came over this way. It's a struggle. It's a nonstop struggle. It's a headache. It's a high blood pressure. But it's a constant. It's a necessary evil. And then the second thing I want to remind you guys, and I want to point out, as I mentioned before, the very beginning of this video, you are not the only guild. You are not the only group that is in this situation. On your server and throughout this game, there are hundreds, if not thousands, of other groups, guilds, etc., that are just like yours, that are just like mine, that are just like Pecco's, that are in a situation where they want to get into Heroic, they want to get into Mythic, they want to kill the next boss, but they can't. They're stuck because people are getting, too lax. People aren't following the mechanics. People aren't following the strategies. Recruitment is down, and they're stuck. So what I want to remind you as a leader is that you set what your guild is about. You need to be upfront with what you expect. You need to set what you want to get done. If you have set, as I've set for my guild, clear Heroic, get into Mythic. That is the goal of my guild. For every single tier that comes out, clear Heroic, get into Mythic. Clear Heroic, get into Mythic. And we've been fairly successful with that. That is what I want. That is my goal. However, if there is a major change, let's say that you're just simply not able, and you realize in your heart of hearts that your guild is unable to clear, let's say, Heroic content. I'll put you guys in my situation. You are in charge of my guild, and the goal being clear all the Heroic content and then get into Mythic for that tier. And in your heart of hearts that due to roster changes, due to time constraints, due to whatever, that your group is unable to get this done. You need to reassess and sit down with your group and talk about it. Go, look, guys, I want us to clear Heroic content, but we're not getting it done. So do we want to continue pushing Heroic content or drop down into, normal content? Or do we want to get rid of a raid day? Or do we want to make changes? Talk to people. Yes, this is your guild. This is your group. But you are nothing without your guild members. And that's something that unlike a lot of other things, is very weird from a leadership perspective. When you are in a business, when you are in the Marine Corps, if you're in the military, when I was promoted to the rank of corporal in the Marine Corps, I was promoted to rank of corporal. But in my guild, the only reason I'm the guild leader, and this is a secret that a lot of raiders don't realize, and I've mentioned it before, the only reason I'm the guild leader is because you guys let me be the guild leader. You guys have agreed to let me boss you around. You could easily join any other guild. So, yes, this is my guild. This is your guild. This is your group. Maybe not a guild, maybe like I've said before, a group that gets together every week. See what people want to do. Maybe realign what your goals are based on the group that you are able to field right then and there. And then get it done. Do everything in your power to get it done. Remember, as the guild leader, as an officer, as a leader within your group, you have a responsibility outside the raid to prepare your raiders and make the strongest roster that you can possibly make. Inside the raid, your goal is to push progress. That is, in a nutshell, what your job is, regardless of what position you fill. The guild leader, an officer, recruitment guy, whatever. This is your goal. So, make sure you understand what you're doing. Make sure that you know that you are not the only person in this situation. And above everything else, do not stop. Eventually, you will make it. I promise, guys. Now, with all that being said, hopefully you guys like what I'm saying here. If you do, you guys know the deal. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. If you want to contact me, comment section in the YouTubes, or I promise I'll check Twitter a little bit more. If you guys want to hit me up there, questions, comments, concerns, I'd honestly love more questions from you guys. I love answering them. And until next time, I'll see you.